Trinidad and Tobago is, as described by Forbes magazine, the crossroads of the Americas. With one of the fastest growing economies in the Western Hemisphere, Trinidad and Tobago has been a center of trade, commerce, and exchange from its earliest recorded history. The country's main port, Port of Spain, known as Cumucurapu by the first people who settled here, was a maritime settlement well before even Columbus arrived on the island in 1498. Since then, the country's history and culture has flourished on the currents that wash its shores. Today, the country's social, socio-cultural landscape and its economic and commercial horizons continue to be shaped by its dynamic maritime prospects. The country's 362 kilometers, or 225 miles of coastline, is linked to the international trade network by its 3 major seaports. Port of Spain, the country's largest dedicated cargo port, which is located in the country's capital and most metropolitan city. Currently, the port and the entire waterfront is the center of a massive urban renewal project aimed at making the port and the city one of the most advanced cities in the region. Port of Scarborough, the major and only general cargo port in the smaller island Tobago. And Port Point Lisas, the major industrial port. The busy shipping lanes, modern ports, and the growing offshore civilization all add new horizons for maritime investment opportunities to the local and international economy. We have the ability to satisfy the increasing demands for a diverse array of specialized services, expertise, and supplies. Among the reasons for the dynamic trade and the economic growth in Trinidad and Tobago are:
Trinidad is well positioned. A lot of people talk about geographic location being the key in many aspects of this industry, and Trinidad is well located. We must remember that during the last World War, Trinidad was a transition point when the convoys came from North America to go to South America. The handover as such was done in Trinidad. So we have a tradition in North-South trade, and we just need to formalize it with having better, bigger operating ports so we can accommodate all of these ships to do the transshipment.
One of the advantages of Trinidad and Tobago as a maritime center is its geographic location. The fact that it's located below the hurricane belt for the Caribbean, the fact that it's also one of the largest natural bays, the fact that it's located close to Venezuela, it means that a lot of the time the waters are basically still. And it's an opportunity for ship repair business, marine construction activities.
Trinidad is also on the main shipping lines if you're coming through the Panama Canal and you're going to the East South America, if you want to go to South Africa, and again if you're going from the western northern part of Venezuela and the western part of the Caribbean, you can go via Trinidad to the Mediterranean. So we are well positioned in terms of all the major shipping routes. For investors, the west coast of Trinidad is just one great big, very calm pond. We are south of the traditional hurricane belt, even though you hear the experts predicting that nowhere is sacrosanct anymore. But thus far, we've never been hit by a hurricane. The population is educated. We've got a very stable local environment as far as labor. Politically, we're very stable. All of these things are what attracts investors coming to a country, be it to be involved in shipping or be it to put down a plant. A lot of these plants that are put in Trinidad, the Trinidadian market does not consume them, and a lot of it is exported, so there is always foreign currency earned. More and more downstream plants are being constructed, but with a population of only 1.3 million people, the consumption is not all that big, so again, there is an excellent opportunity for exports.
One of the advantages of the maritime cluster in Trinidad and Tobago is the fact that we recently opened a maritime program within the University of Trinidad and Tobago. We think that this could provide a lot of advantages by providing the human resources to carry the industry forward.
Well, if you joined our diploma program, it's aimed purely at those who wish to go to sea, who want to go to sea in the merchant marine as officers, either as engineers or as navigators. And at the end of the program, you would finish up with a university diploma and also a certificate of competency from the local Maritime administration, which will enable you to become an officer on board any ship worldwide. So the importance is huge for the industry. Because there is this shortage worldwide, young people can now get a job as an officer in the worldwide fleet. They have a job opportunity to go and join some of the big shipping companies around the world.
Trinidad and Tobago's role in the international merchant marine sector has allowed the local industry to grow by approximately 75% over the last 7 years. This growth is projected to double in traffic by 2015. Currently, the Cabinet-appointed Maritime Industry Development Committee, the MIDC, is responsible for overseeing the implementation of the strategic plan to guide and manage the expansion of the new local industry.
In a nutshell, Port of Spain has outgrown its surroundings, so the port needs to really grow. And where it is, it cannot grow, so government is now considering removing the port to an area somewhere in the Sea Lots area, which will allow it to grow. Point Lisas, on the other hand, where I used to work, can grow to any size basically, because there is land and there is sea. You don't have a city growing and making the port, as has happened all over the world, where city ports are no longer in the cities, they've had to be removed. So this is the situation as far as Port of Spain goes.
In addition, the National Energy Corporation recently got a mandate from the government to expand and to develop 5 new port facilities to service the petrochemical industries. We have new plants that are being set up, and each of these plants require export facilities for their products.
This country, it's an English-speaking country. We have developed a developed banking system. We have an educated populace. We have an intelligent and skilled workforce. So that positions Trinidad ideally for all the peripheral activities related to ports. For example, ship repair, chandlery, shipping agency, import, export. All these things are ideally suited to Port of Trinidad and Tobago.
In its strategic thrust to attain first world status by the year 2020, both the country's ports and international transportation and communications networks not only meet local demands for moving goods and services regionally, but also meet the most exacting international standards as well. With almost 100% of the island covered by reliable and affordable telecommunication networks, the potential for efficiency and productivity is vastly improved.
Trinidad and Tobago is a very good place for investment. We have a history of several large multinationals investing in Trinidad and feeling quite comfortable. They are able to repatriate their profits. They are able to do the kind of work and find the kind of support that they would like. We are very supportive of this. We are at a very strategic position in the context of the Caribbean. We are the largest, strongest economy in the Caribbean region at this present point in time, and our energy sector means that we have very strong incomes. This means that our imports and exports are growing phenomenal, and therefore the demand for a larger port is quite clear.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry, together with the MIDC and industry stakeholders, continue to pioneer incentives which make doing business in the territory even more attractive and efficient.
Incentives include VAT exemptions for the importation of materials for capital-intensive undertakings in the sector, duty-free importation for plant, machinery and equipment for maritime enterprise, and of course, with the soon-to-be implemented investment policy, a foreign investor may now hold up to 49% shareholding in a publicly traded company.
Trinidad and Tobago's buoyant economy, stable political climate, strategic geographical location, ready supply of human resources and energy, and its dynamic socio-culture environment, together with the government's concerted thrust to move the country into first world status by 2020, all contribute to making this location one of the most attractive and exciting sites for investing in the maritime industry. Trinidad and Tobago's rich maritime history and strong future await.